For the second time in season number 8, the Dirty Deeds are about to be done dirt cheap here in upstate New York. Hi, hello, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Canandaigua, New York. We're live here at the Land of Legends Raceway for race number 9 of season number 8 of the Fuel Grand National Series schedule, the Canandaigua Clash. Pleasant good evening, everyone tuning in here on the North American Sim Racing Network's coverage. The Canandaigua Clash here for the Fuel Grand National Series, live on YouTube here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Once again in the press box, my name is Trey Wright, joined alongside by the Colonel of Caleb Rose. So we are ready to get down and dirty once again. So we are ready to do 75 laps here at the Canandaigua Speedway, the Land of Legends. Here tonight, and Caleb, you weren't here for our first dirt race of the season 2 weeks ago down at the Fuel Motorsports Park down in Tennessee, but we're here on the dirt, and as Blake Warren spins around, we're in fun. We're in store for a fantastic second race here on dirt here in season number 8 of the Fuel Grand National Series.
Yeah, definitely kind of sad that I had to miss that race out there at the Fuel Motorsports Park, but I am ever the more excited for this race tonight. It is always a good time when we get these hot rods dirty and dusty, and I'm sure we're definitely in for quite the fun race tonight. This dirt just race is so different from your traditional asphalt or concrete or whatever, just paved racetrack, and always usually produces some very fun and very technical racing. Where you just gotta manage to keep your car underneath throughout the duration of the racing. And that can prove to be quite the challenge. But, hey, that just makes these races all the more fun. I'm excited to see how this race does end up playing out, and definitely be quite a fun one here from upstate New York.
It definitely is, and as you can tell a little bit here, we've got an updated ticker up on the top end of the screen. Another big shout out to content creator Clable for giving us an updated version of this ticker here tonight, as we'll get things we'll get the ticker reset here. Oh, and the schedule rather. Server's going to be reset here for a brief moment, as we had a couple of drivers with different server numbers, so we're going to get the server all reset here in just a couple of moments. But overall, great showcase of the ticker for about maybe 5 seconds there. But Caleb, we're right down into the nitty-gritty with only 3 races remaining here in season number 8, and things are definitely going to get really interesting here tonight, especially on dirt, and we've got heat races tonight as well. We'll get into the format in just a couple of moments, but overall, we are in store for a boatload of fun, as we always are. We got about 20 cars out on track, and it is going to be fun.
Yeah, definitely. Got a lot of storylines and just overall headlines here coming into tonight's race. Like we were talking about, it's got 3 races left to go in the season. There's 3 more races until we crown a champion. The championship has been quite interesting pretty much about all season long. Man, it just kind of feels like this season has flown by here in the Grand National Series, but it's definitely been a fun ride here so far. It's going to be exciting to see how these final 3 races do go. We started here tonight here on the dirt, and these races are always usually a boatload of fun, especially with all the factors and everything coming in. So it's going to be interesting to see how all those do end up shaking out, but definitely be quite interesting. It'll be interesting to see how it does shake up here tonight, but got a strong looking field here tonight. Definitely looks like we have quite a few competitors here in this one. We've got a lot of good looking schemes on track, as a lot of people bringing their throwback paint schemes to the dirt, and we got a lot of good looking race cars out there.
We definitely do, as there's the 811 called before you dig, number 88 machine of Corbin Wentz in the 88 car. Grant Warren with a beautiful looking Pennzoil scheme, as Corbin's going to get run over by everybody. Doing a backflip there is Tyler Stallhood back in the RCA number 7 machine. But like we were talking about and taking a look at the point standings, Apollo Hyde with now a 100-point gap over Vincenzo Focasato after those two finishing relatively nose to tail last week at Rockingham. Of course, Hyde trying to end a over month and a half long winless drought here in the Fuel Racing League. Emiskizato dropping back down to, or is up to third, but is 216 points behind Hyde and Focusato. So it's realistically turned into a two-horse race for this championship here in just a couple of weeks. But RJ Bishop, he fell down to fourth in the standings, and Taylor Stolworthy rising up to 5. A couple of newcomers inside the top 12 in points. Crystal Bennett up 2 spots. She's up inside the top 10, and Rich Roy will make his first appearance inside the top 10 in the point standings, if I'm not mistaken, in that number 29 machine. Let's get a good look at Nick Gunther, last week's winner at the Rockingham Speedway. He's the inside of 3 wide as Taylor Stolworthy back in the Davey Allison scheme in that Havoline number 1 underneath the Bauer 02 of Connor Edwards. And Trek Togger making up this quartet here in just a dominating win for Nick Gunther 1 week ago. And Drew Fast in the server as well. But like we were talking about, we have a heat race set up, and this is how things are going to go here for the format tonight. So after qualifying, we're going to be running 2 25-lap heat races. Heat number 1, that's going to set the outside lane, the inside lane, I should say, while heat number 2 will set the outside lane, and then the main event will be 75 laps, slinging some mud around this dirt track here tonight. Cautions are going to be turned on during the heat race, but looking at the event itself, going to be doing 75 laps, about, well, not 100 miles, a little bit under that. But overall, it's just under a half mile for this dirt oval with slight banking in the corners. You got 10 degrees of banking in turns 1 and 2 and 9 degrees in turn number 4. But tire wear is not really going to be a factor here tonight. It's really going to come down to tire temperature when these guys are going to be ripping them all the way down the inside lane. Fuel's not really going to be a factor tonight, so we're not going to see a whole lot of differing strategy tonight, Caleb. But we're just going to be seeing all these drivers take it out on the track instead of really taking it out on the pit lane with some of the fun strategies we saw at Rockingham and at the Fuel Motorsports Park. So we get a look at the track map here. Your run-of-the-mill half-mile dirt oval. You got the Land of Legends Raceway. But, Caleb, I'm excited to see what these guys are able to do here in these heat races. It's the first time since Dover of Season 6, if I'm not mistaken, that we're running heat races, and it offers a little bit of a unique challenge for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, definitely. Heat races are always usually very, very interesting and fun. It's going to be exciting to see how they do end up playing out. And honestly, I'd even say heat races could even get more chaotic than the feature races at times. So we'll have to see if that ends up being the case. But regardless of the fact, got a lot of racing ahead of us here tonight, and should be a lot of fun pretty much from the drop of the green flag in Heat 1 all the way to the checkered flag in the feature. But like we were talking about, not the biggest amount of tire wear at this racetrack. It's going to be a couple tenths difference if you are on fresh tires compared to somebody at the tail end of the run, but it's really not that much compared to some other tracks. But yeah, like you mentioned, tire temperature definitely going to be a pretty big factor, though. Of course, on the cooler dirt surface, it's going to be a lot harder to keep those temps up. So definitely need to make sure to try and keep those tires up to temperature as much as you can, or else it might be a bit more difficult to keep that car underneath you.
Certainly will be, as we'll go ahead and get qualifying underway here at Canandaigua for race number 9 of the season. We'll be back here in just a couple of moments. But like we said, we got the new ticker rocking and rolling here tonight. We got a couple of fresh faces as well. We'll get to them here in just a couple of moments during these heat races. But Caleb, we were talking about it a little bit earlier. We got 3 races to go. We got Kansas next week, and then we go across the pond to Paris after that. That is going to be really, really fun if I do say so myself.
Yeah, Paris is always usually a very fun racetrack. Had a lot of fun there in the the Super Speedway Series last season, and just a very interesting and fast racetrack, and definitely, honestly, kind of suits for the finale of a series. So I'm excited to see how it does end up playing out here for the Grand National Series this season, and especially with that championship format or championship fight we got going on right now between Apollo Hyde and Vincenzo Focusato. Have to see how that ends up shaking out. Have to see if Focusato could potentially take the fight to Hyde, but Hyde in a bit of a conundrum here, looking for her first win in quite some time, and so it'd definitely be a good opportunity for her to nab that first win in quite a little bit. So see if I can get that win and maybe potentially lock up the championship a little bit early with the gap she's got right now to Focusado.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of time since we've seen Apollo Hyde in victory lane. You got to go back to that chaotic race at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, the last time that we've seen Apollo Hyde in here. But it's Ike Durbin, the sponsoree of this race. He's going to take the pole position here in qualifying with 1:20 to go. We got 20 cars in the server. We are just about to get underway here, as we'll go ahead and take a look at the board here in Q. As Ike Durbin, Nick Gunther will be the front row for heat number 1 here this evening, with Taylor Stolworthy and Vincenzo Focusado in there for the row 2 for heat number 1, I should say. And it looks like Apollo Hyde and RJ Bishop will be the front row for heat number 2 here in just a few moments. We got 45 seconds to go here in qualifying before we'll get things underway here for the first heat of the night. Like we were talking about, 25 laps going on the board here for the heats. Trying to find, oh, there's our, there's free cam. Free cam is always very, very fun, and we'll get things going here in just a couple of moments. But want to shout out a couple of drivers that we've got here tonight. First off, making her debut this season, if I'm not mistaken, NB Rain. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. Vincenzo, if I'm not pronouncing that right, you can go ahead and correct me. But NB Rain in that 45 machine, she's going to be making her season debut. One of the 20 cars that will start out on track, and it looks like we should be going right to the go here. We're going to go into happy hour. We're just going to run straight into things, and it looks like we'll be running happy hour for a brief moment in time. So I think we'll run happy hour once, just so everybody gets situated right before the duels, and that should be good to go here for a lot of these guys. There's NB Rain in that 45 car. In that Chevrolet Camaro, trying to get a good look at that automobile, that Golden Meadows 45 with the nice Comic Sans font. As we get the free cam situated for everybody at home, there's Rich Roy back there in the 29, and Apollo Hyde off in the infield doing Apollo Hyde things. Kenny Campos back in the 17 car. And that beautiful Darrell Waltrip throwback. That's got to be one of my favorite schemes in the field here tonight, Caleb. That classic Western Auto Chevrolet.
Yeah, definitely. Kenny brought some really good schemes to the table here this season. That Western Auto Chevrolet definitely looking very, very nice, especially in the Sportsman Series, where I guess you could say kind of on an accurate body there. Definitely looks really, really nice, but still got a lot more great schemes in this field as well. Really liking some of the throwbacks we've got here for this race, and honestly a lot we've seen throughout the season here so far. But it's like we're gearing up here for heat number 1. It's going to be interesting to see how it ends up shaking out.
Will be interesting, as this will start the inside lane here for heat number 1. Then we'll get the server reset. We'll be off and running here for heat number 2. But here is the shot. You got Ike Durbin, who will lead the field of the green flag here in heat number 1, with Nick Gunther right behind him. I don't think NB Rain is just going to leave. We're going to have 10 cars here in heat number 1, and they will be as follows. Ike Durbin in the 86, Nick Gunther in the 55, Taylor Stolworthy in the 1, Crystal Bennett in the 84, Grant Warren in the 33, Emmy Schizzato in the 97, Rafaela Sorensen in the 09, Trek Togger in the 60, Connor Edwards in the 02, and Corbin Wentz in the 88 machine, the 10 cars. That will get underway here for qualifying heat number 1 of the evening. Glad to have everybody aboard, as we always do. Cautions are going to be turned on for these heat races, but hopefully we don't see any caution laps with the 25-lap heat shebang. But we are on a dirt track. You can expect the unexpected, especially on these dirt races, but we're going to get to see these guys absolutely fan out right off of the start here, and this opening heat is really going to set the tone for tonight.
Definitely. This is going to be a nice foundation here. Our first glimpse of racing at this racetrack, and it'll be interesting to see who we do see up towards the front here in this race. Just overall, how these guys race around this racetrack, it'll be interesting and excited to see who does get it done here in heat number 1.
Pace cars down the pit lane. Ike Durbin will lead them to the green flag here in just a couple of moments, and there it is out in the air. Sponsoree of this race will lead the field to the green flag here in heat number 1. A great start on the inside for Durbin. Nick Gunther did not turn whatsoever. He is off of the wall, and last week's winner is already going to fall down to 4th, make it 5th as Taylor Stolworthy up into that 2nd spot already. Not a great start for your winner from last week's SRI Performance 100. Now he's starting to get himself in a little bit of a groove. If I'm not mistaken, this might be Gunther's first dirt race. It's his 2nd fuel race. The first one being last week, and he is into the inside wall. Do not believe that that's going to be a caution flag as Corbin Wentz way out of shape in the 88. He's trying to get a little bit of a hold on that car. Again, you remember going back to the Fuel Motorsports Park, he struggled immensely 2 weeks ago on the dirt. So he's just trying to get things going. Stolworthy in a battle with Crystal Bennett for that penultimate spot, but Ike Durbin is all but gone already in that 86 machine. He's led every single lap so far. We're on to lap number 4, and Stolworthy in hot pursuit. You can see Stolworthy wheeling that thing around in that Texaco Havoline Charger, with the Dodges running 2nd and 3rd right now, but a Mazda at the forefront with Ike Durbin pulling away a little bit there from that one machine. Gunther has recovered a little bit there, Caleb.
Ike Durbin's been really laying down some nice laps here.
Corbin Wentz spins off of turn number 2. He'll loop it around.
Greg Togger might have had a bit of an issue there off of 4 as well. Actually pretty sizable dent to the right side of number 60.
Yeah, so Trek is going to fall back into that 7th spot for the time being, and Corbin is going to spin that 88 car around. In front of the 86, Ike will go on by, and looks like Corbin will retire from the race, so he will start 19th for the feature event later on this evening. That leaves us 9 cars left in this heat race, and Emi Schizzato has gotten around Crystal Bennett, who's now fallen back. Grant Warren looking to get inside the top 5, and Emi Schizzato would currently start this race in that 5th spot the way things run right now, but Durbin and Stolworthy still about a second off of one another. Still plenty of time to go in this heat race, but this battle for 3rd really heating up. Crystal really flinging that 84 car around the corner. As we go on board with the 84, we'll take you for a couple of laps around Canandaigua. This has really been some really fun racing here tonight, Caleb. You can never go wrong with dirt racing, and we've seen that in spades so far.
I definitely got a really great battle here going for 3rd on back is Schizzato trying to hold on over the 84 of Crystal Bennett, who's absolutely singing that 84 around this racetrack, and right now has a mirror full of that 33 of Grant Warren. We're going to try and find a way around into 4. Bennett slides a bit wide there through 1 and 2. Here comes the 33 trying to close in. Can't quite get a nose just yet, but stake out of that 84. Bit of a twitch there, and here comes Warren. Just couldn't get the drive off.
Yeah,
these two absolutely going at it there for 4th.
He had to get out of the gas just slightly there.
Yeah.
Grant has been trying to use that inside lane, and Crystal just trying to utilize the outside, trying to find a little bit of a cushion. Woo! Haffiella pounds the outside wall off of turn 4. She got a little bit tied up there with the 33, and she'll fall a little bit ways away down to 6th. 9 cars still in this heat race, and it's really just been the Ike Durbin show. He's opened things up to a 2.4 second gap over the one of Taylor Stolworthy, as we're halfway home through this opening heat race of the night. Trek Togger is going to be on the chopping block as a lap down car, and Connor Edwards has come down the pit lane in the 02.
So not over for 4th.
Bauer will let the 86 go on by, and now Grant Warren Trying to take that fourth spot away. Here comes the
attempt.
crossover. A little bit sideways out of the corner was Crystal Bennett. She was slideways out of 4, and she's still slideways, but Grant utilizing a lot of his effort there in that 33 Pennzoil Ford. Bennett trying to put the hammer down. Ooh, Grant, a little slidey coming out of turn 4. That might be what Crystal needs, but she's not able to grab the ledge. Still plenty of time to go in this race here. Again, there's not 75 laps in the heat event, unlike the ticker suggests. There's only 25, so we've only got about 7 laps to go this time by here in heat number 1. Caution-free affair so far, as Ike Durbin has opened things up to a 3.56 second lead over Taylor Stolworthy. And it's really been a fantastic battle between this 33 and 84 cars, with Rafaela Sorensen waiting in the wings for these two to make a mistake. Crystal's got the inside lane on the 33.
There's loose, that was the 84. They're still side by side. No, Warren's going to clear.
And Grant's going to clear back over to take that 4th spot away. And Emi Schizzato starting to creep in on this one car a little bit. We'll check back, but this is an incredible 3-car battle for this 4th spot here. Coming around to 5 laps to go, and it looks like Bennett might finally succeed on this 33 car.
That was a good 3 and 4 there from the 84. I don't think she's done quite yet, but Warren's doing a good job keeping that car planted towards the bottom, so if he can keep doing that, he might have a shot here at holding on. But that 84, she's still got something. She's still got something under her sleeve, and see if she can get back by this 33 Grant Warren. Another good run off 3 and 4. Here she comes.
She's going to get the drive off. 3 laps to go in heat number 1. And Bennett trying to wheel that Dodge around that Menards Ford, that Pennzoil Ford, I should say. So we'll go on board with her once again. Trying to get the drive off on the inside. He's got the outside, though, as Grant, and he'll shut the door going into 1. Ooh, nearly a little bit of a bump there. Not sure if there was any contact. It looked very close. But Grant was able to use that as a little bit of a boost, and he's going to put some gap between himself and the 84. And that's the type of racing we're going to see all night long, is that little just bump and a run. But not enough bump and not a whole lot of run there for the 84 as Rafaela Sorensen trying to take that spot away. I know Rafaela would love a nice little top 10 start to this race here. So off turn number 4, that will do it here for heat number 1, as Ike Durbin will lead the field to the green flag in tonight's Canandaigua Clash. And he will pull off in the 86, and that will bring everybody else out here for heat number 2 in just a couple of moments. But you're inside lane here for heat number 2. Or heat number 1, I should say. Ike Durbin will start from the pole position in car number 86. Taylor Stolworthy will start in 3rd. Emi Schizzato and Grant Warren will be the other 2 cars inside the first 4 rows. And we'll see if the server will be reset here, and it indeed will be. So we should get everything reset, hopefully. Everything will indeed roll over, and it will. So now we'll get the outside row kicked off here. We're quickly just trying to chicken scratch everything down for the starting lineup for the inside lane. So it's going to be Durbin, Stolworthy, Schizzato. They'll be the first 3 cars in the inside lane. And Grant Warren, he will start in 9th. And Crystal Bennett will round out the top 10 in the 84 machine. But now we'll get things going here in heat number 2 in just a few moments' time.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the engines have been fired to life. And we are ready to go here for heat number 2. So Paulo Hyde will lead the field to the green flag here in this second heat with the 48 of RJ Bishop starting to her outside. And you got Vincenzo Focusato, Drew Fast, the Ribbon Rain, the 45 car Nikki Conti, Rich Roy, Kenny Campos, Tyler Stallhood, and Blake Warren to round out the 10 cars that are going to start here in this second heat of the night. Caleb, we saw some really good racing in that opening heat. And we saw Ike Durbin pretty much run away with it. We might see the same work, I think, with the amount of pedigree we got in this second heat as we're about to go green flag racing. I think we're definitely going to see a much fiercer competition as we are ready to go. Green flag out and away, and Apollo Hyde will get us underway for heat number 2. Here we go, Caleb.
Great jump there by the 100 as Focusato already looking to try and take advantage on that inside lane as it's kind of a battle royale right now back in here through the field as everybody all stacked up trying to go for whatever spots they can get. Kenny Campos side by side with Rich Roy, turns Rich Roy into the 29, up into Kenny Campos, who's hard in the wall and over.
And Kenny Campos upside down. That will bring out the opening caution in heat number 2. And that was a recipe for disaster as Rich Roy got turned, coming off of turn number 4 by the looks of it, and Kenny Campos going for a wild ride. Take a look and see what happened here to put us under our first caution of the night, and that was right off of the opening lap, and that all got started when Rich Roy went wide off for the corner, went back down the racetrack, and nowhere for the 12 car to go. He goes up the track and upside down goes the 17. We'll grab one final look at it before we'll get things underway once again, but we'll follow along from the vantage point of the 12. Just nowhere for Blake to go, and back down the track into the 17, and he goes up into the fence, does a couple of rollovers, but ultimately looks like he should be able to keep on trucking. Well, I'd say that was an exciting start to the second heat here tonight, Caleb.
I'd say, yeah. I'd say, yeah, that was definitely quite exciting, to say the least.
So to Kenny Campos doing a couple of roly-polies. He'll get his car all fixed up and going, but I think he might be a lap down here based on the damage repair that he's got to endure. But Apollo Hyde still holding on in that Pepsi Subaru, Mazda, and Chevrolet, the front 3 rows here tonight. And we're going to get, nope, doesn't look like anybody's going to come down the pit lane. And the pit road setup is a little bit weird here. I believe pit entry is out of turn number 4.
Here comes Campos out of pit lane. We'll unfortunately have to fall a lap down, but it's still going. Just rub some dirt on that thing. There's plenty of it around here.
Plenty of dirt, plenty of shale, plenty of clay. But here we go. $20 laps to go in heat number 2. Hyde, Bishop, Focusato, and Conti. Top 4 with Drew Fast rounding out the top 5 in the 4 machine. Back through the gears we go here at Canandaigua. Green flag back out and away, and another really good start on the inside for Apollo Hyde. Trying to thunder that 100 car around, trying to twitch it a little bit here and there. Tyler Stallhood a little bit breaking loose. He might jump the cushion. No, he's just going to hold on to it in that 7 car. Here comes the crossover from Blake Warren. And again, for Tyler, it's a little bit of a new experience for him tonight. He is on the road with the entire Vanguard Digital Printing Systems crew, but he does have his computer with him. He is playing on a controller right now opposed to the wheel, so it's a little bit of a learning curve for that 17 car. We'll go on board with him, and you can see just how twitchy of a wheel that he is running right now in that 17 as we're on board with the helmet cam. And he's just trying to run to the best of his abilities. But overall, right now running in that 7th spot here in heat number 2. And Want to give a shout out to Jarrett, Caleb, Danny, and Cole from Vanguard that are all going to be watching this stream here tonight. It's Tyler on the road, but Caleb, probably a dirt track in NR2003 would be the last place that you would want to use an actual controller, just an Xbox controller. Heck, even like, I don't know, an Xbox controller is probably just the best analogy, but you do not want to use any sort of stick controller at a dirt track where you got to make the most fine and minute moments and movements with that wheel. You're just so on the edge of control in these dirt cars here in NR2003, and you not being able to use a wheel is a pretty significant disadvantage.
Yeah, definitely. As a controller user myself for NR Online Racing, it definitely takes a little bit to kind of get the gist of it. It's definitely a lot twitchier, both for better and for worse, especially on the worst side for a track like this, or like you mentioned, you definitely got to be very precise with your movements, or else you risk completely looping the car around. So Stallho doing a real good job right now here, considering the circumstances, but yeah, like you're talking about, especially on a dirt track like this, definitely not the track where you want to try and run controller for the first time, as he's in the wall in that 7 machine. I made kind of a similar mistake running my first ever NR Online race on a controller at a road course, and I guess you could imagine how that probably went.
Oh no, I remember when I was first entering the NR Online scene, and Blake Warren can attest to this, back at the IMRC Grand National, or the IMRC Light Series back in 2021, or early 2022, late 2021, I was racing a little bit online with an Xbox controller. That was before I got my Logitech wheel. And we were doing a race at the Boston International Speedway, a reskin of Rockingham, and my controller disconnected as I was moving underneath of Blake in turn number 3, and I accidentally decked him into the wall. And well, that was a series where we ran realistic damage online, so that was kind of my first experience racing with Blake. That was kind of my first impression for him, and safe to say our relationship has gotten a wee bit better than that. So he's rocking around here in this JD McDuffie last car on Brock throwback. Good news for Blake, if in case you're a little bit out of the loop, as spinning that car into a loop as Tyler Stallhood, he'll loop it back around and he'll fall back to 10th. No, he's just going to go into the pit wall. But good news for Blake is that he's been dealing with some health issues, some kidney stones. That was a big part of the reason why he was down the pit lane at Rockingham 1 week ago. And good news for him, all the kidney stones were taken out, so glad to see him back out on track. And he's right now running in that 5th spot, so he would be starting in this second heat in 10th, the way things are going right now. But we are clicking away these lap times. We're already 7 laps to go here in heat number 2, and Apollo Hyde has got a 5-second lead over Drew Fast, and she is pretty much checked out here in that Pepsi Mazda.
Apollo's got pretty much nothing but clean air around that 100 car right now, or I guess at least as clean as it can be while ripping around a probably dust-loomed dirt track. Yeah, Apollo doing really good so far in that 100, has a sizable lead, a almost 5.5-second lead, back to the number 4 of Drew Fast, who's going at it right now with the 37 of Vincenzo Focusato, with Lake Durbin kind of waiting in the wings there with that battle for second. But yeah, Apollo doing a real good job in that 100 car. You start on the outside
back up the track.
Oh my!
And that's going to give Focusato, or is he going to take second away? We got 3 wide as Stallhood got split as the lap car. Focusato is going to have the inside line, and he's going to try and take second away from Fast, or will he? Fast is going to have the run off of the corner. And if these guys get together, Nicky Conti is back in here in 4th, waiting to see if these guys are going to get any sort of chaos brewing. Up on the inner cushion goes the 37, and that might be all she wrote here for Focusato. Or, yeah, that might be all she wrote for him, as he's going to fall back into the clutches of Nicky Conti, losing a lot of his momentum. Tough break there for the 37, and that is all but going to guarantee this win here in Heat 2 for Apollo Hyde. As I believe we should be on the last lap of heat number, this should be the last lap this time for heat number 2. And no, that was the last lap. Our ticker is, I believe, behind by 1 lap, or is it? Nope, we're now on lap 25, so this is the last lap in heat number 2. This time around, Apollo Hyde coming around, and she's going to have an 8-second gap to get this stage, this Heat 2 win here tonight, and that will set the grid for Canandaigua here this evening. Doesn't look like anybody else's positions were going to change, as NB Rain in her fuel debut will end up qualifying in 16th here tonight. It doesn't look like we're going to get any sort of changes before we'll get things underway here in just a few moments. A little bit more chaotic second heat of the night, Kayla. We did have only that one caution, but other than that, some more fantastic racing as we are always accustomed to.
Definitely. Definitely started out a lot differently with that accident in the first lap of the heat, but managed to keep it green there to the end, and once again saw some fantastic racing, especially that battle for second between Drew Fast, Focusato, and Nikki Conti there towards the end. That was definitely really, really fun to watch, but yeah, this is definitely gearing up to be quite the interesting race. That is for sure. The starting lineup definitely looking pretty interesting. Got a couple big dogs starting towards the back, which might be very, very interesting to see if they can make their way up towards the front of the field. But like I said, it's definitely going to be a fun race here tonight. Got 75 laps of racing ahead of us, triple the distance of the heat races, so maybe triple the excitement. We'll just have to see.
Well, here is your starting lineup here for tonight's Canandaigua Clash here at the Land of Legends Raceway. We'll go starting from row number 1. It's going to be Ike Durbin will start in first. Apollo Hyde will start in second. And then row number 2, it'll be Taylor Stolworthy and Drew Fast. Row number 3 will be Emmy Schizzato and Vincenzo Focusato. Row 4 will be Grant Warren and the 85 of Nikki Conti. Row number 5, Crystal Bennett and RJ Bishop. Row number 6, Rafaela Sorensen and Blake Warren. Row number 7 is going to be Nick Gunther and Rich Roy. Row 8, Trek Togger and NB Rain. Row number 9 is going to be Connor Edwards and Tyler Stallhood, and rounded out all 20 cars in this race. In that 10th spot is going to be the 88 of Corbin Wentz and the 17 of Kenny Campos, as we've got about 4 minutes to go here in happy hour, and Connor Edwards just took out the flag stand. Talk about final destination, and talk about RJ Bishop driving his way through the accident scene, and that is why happy hour makes us nothing but happy. Some drivers use it as a testing session to try to shake down their setups one final time, but most others, it's just absolute anarchy out there.
Definitely always quite a lot of fun once we get to these practice happy hour sessions, as everybody just finding the limit out there and everybody trying to push it beyond the limit. Definitely makes for some very interesting results.
It makes for good screenshots for us.
Yeah.
As RJ Bishop just committed vehicular homicide on the 4-car. Oh, Fuel Grand National, my beloved. And if you love the Fuel Grand National Series, you even want to partake here in the Fuel Racing League, link for the Discord is down in the description box below of this very video. We accept all levels of competition. If you're a veteran like Nick Gunther and Apollo Hyde are, or if you're a rookie like we saw with Corbin Wentz or even NB Rain in the 45, all levels of competition, all levels of skill are welcome. We highly encourage anybody that's tuning in here tonight to go down below and join the Discord server of the nearly 200 people we've got in the Fuel Racing League Discord server. We got 20 guys and gals racing here tonight, and we got 2 more races to go here before we'll get things underway, as we'll take a look at the remainder of the schedule. We got the Land of Legends Raceway here tonight. Then next Wednesday evening, it's going to be from the legendary ASP Raceway. Just kidding, it's the Kansas Speedway. That's going to be a tape-delayed race, as I'll be on the road heading to the Kansas Speedway for the ARCA race with the Rise Racing number 89 crew. Not looking forward to driving down North Carolina and then driving up to Kansas and then vice versa next week. But hey, you know what? It's always an adventure. But we'll have the tape-delayed race that Monday night right here on the NASRN. And then the season finale for season number 8 here for the Fuel Grand National Series across the pond at Autodrome de Paris on Wednesday, April 22nd, 2 days after our reschedule our tape-delayed race right here. Your home for the Fuel Racing League, the North American Sim Racing Network, and we'll have some other Sportsman Series races queued up as well. We'll be off in the Sportsman Series until May 1st, I should say, when we'll get things underway from the Albuquerque Raceway, one of the Super Speedway Series, Super Speedway races on the card. A lot of fun races coming up, and especially going into season number 9 in the middle portion of this year, Caleb. That's where we're going to see some really fun tracks make their way.
Yeah, definitely. You always see some really fun tracks in the Sportsman Series, especially. Just had a really fun race at the Alleyway, which is definitely quite the interesting racetrack, just to say the least. But it definitely made for a very fun race regardless. And still got some really fun tracks queued ahead here in the Grand National Series, especially here tonight here from upstate New York. And as happy hour comes to a close here, I get ready to start gridding them up here and this race underway. But I'm definitely looking forward to see how this race plays out. Going to be a very exciting one.
I'm looking forward to it as well. Again, 75 laps going on the board here officially. We'll go ahead and get things refreshed and ready to go. Well, you know, again, taking a look at the upcoming schedule beginning on May 13th. We got the Fuel All-Star Race at the Dover Motor Speedway. That's going to be the preseason race for season number 9 of the Fuel Grand National Series. Then we go to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And then we'll go to Nashville, then Michigan, then Pocono, then the Long Beach race, the Long Beach Street Circuit. That's going to be fun. Before going to Bent Twig, that's going to be an epic race. Then Chicagoland, Anchorage, North Wilkesboro, Indianapolis, and finally ending off at Iowa. But that, of course, is then, and this is now. It's time for 75 laps of slinging dirt here in upstate New York as we send things down trackside for the most famous words in motorsports to fire the engines for race number 9 of season number 8 of the Fuel Grand National Series, the Canandaigua Clash, here on the North American Sim Racing Network.
Drivers, start your engines!
We are ready to rock and roll here at Canandaigua as the engines fire to life. Hey, love, it is going to be absolutely nothing but a perfect show here tonight as Ike Durbin looking for his first Fuel Racing League win in about 5 or 6 months' time. Ever since that race at Augusta, he will lead the field of the green flag in Apollo High, starting on the outside pole. Here we go. We are ready to rock and roll. And Caleb, we're in for a fun one here tonight, slinging some dirt. Dirty Deeds done dirt cheap.
Absolutely. I think we're definitely in for a fun one tonight, especially after what we saw in the heat races. Going to be interesting to see how this race ends up shaking out. A 75 laps race heading up here today. The only way we can find out is to let it rip.
Here we go. Ike Durbin leading the field towards the restart zone. The green flag out and away. Let's go dirt tracking tonight. 75 laps are on the board in New York. And Emi Schizotto right off the jump didn't get going whatsoever. That nearly brought out our first caution of the night, and that's going to stack things up immediately on the start. Meanwhile, up at the front, Ike Durbin splitting away from everybody else in the 100, and now you got a pretty good battle for second back in here as Taylor Stolworthy trying to take advantage of these fresh tires at these normal temperatures right off of the gun. Hyde utilizing that outside lane, running right on the cushion, and now nearly breaking sideways, and around goes the 100. Into the pit lane they go. That's definitely going to be a penalty for Apollo Hyde, I think, and I'm not sure where Taylor Stolworthy ended up as well. He's also into the pit area. No caution, we remain green. And we talked about it, Caleb, during the opening portion of the race, how weird this pit lane was, and that certainly took a bite out of the second and third place starting cars, they got together off of turn 4.
And that's definitely quite the way to start this race. That was as subtle as a start as a brick through a glass window. Really tough break there for Apollo Hyde and Taylor Stolworthy getting together from the second position. And it looks like any penalties they might have got, looks like it might be late as they're both still out there on the racetrack, but still going to set them considerably behind the 8-ball. Apollo Hyde going to drop down into the 11th position, now battling Crystal Bennett to try and get back inside the top 10. And Taylor Stolworthy especially sending that one car back to the 19th position. Really tough break there for those two, but it has left the 86 of Ike Durbin really check out from the rest of the field. Is already got a almost 3-second lead back to the 4 Drew Fast, who is locked into a battle right now with the 48 of RJ Bishop. These guys are absolutely boogieing early on in this race.
Yeah, RJ loves this style of dirt racing as he is right there on the back end of the 4 car, and this is exactly as we got nearly troubles. Blake Warren into Grant Warren. Those two breaking sideways. Nick Gunther looking to make it 3 wide, and how about Apollo Hyde? Oh, hard into the outside wall goes the 12. And that likely will be the opening caution of the evening. It is. Corbin Wentz also going around sideways, and that is not what Ike Durbin wanted to see as Drew Fast got around him. Not sure what happened there. I think Ike just slammed on the brakes, and there might be a discussion who is going to be the race leader as everybody waits for the pace car. But that was an absolutely titanic shot into the outside wall as Corbin Wentz has retired from the race, and Blake Warren might be soon to follow. Goodness gracious.
That was quite a shot there. My goodness.
And Drew Fast is going to come down the pit lane in the 4-car. Crystal Bennett and Connor Edwards will follow him as well, so that'll give Ike Durbin the race lead. Right back there in car number 86, but we got to take a look at a couple of different replays. First, we'll see what happened with the 100 and the 1 cars off of turn 4 on the opening lap of the race. Yeah, Hyde just lost it out of 4. Nowhere for Stolworthy to go, and he just got sent right into the 29's pit stall. Everybody was ducking and diving out of the way, and Hyde was able to jump right back into the action there. And she's already climbed herself back inside the top 10. But going back here with this really good battle. This accident started all the way back off of turn number 4. So you look here, just a shot from Schizzato sent the 12 car into the wall. He did a great job of saving it. And Nick Gunther was underneath of him. Gunther just hit off of the 100 and sent that 12 car hard into the outside wall. And fortunately, it looks like Blake is going to remain in the race after a titanic shot. That's really going to change things up.
Guys come down the pit lane there, some staying out. Interesting to see how that does shake things up, especially just with all the early goings in general, but already getting ready to go back green here as looks like Ike Durbin, RJ Bishop going to be leading them back to green here.
So here we go. Pace car back down the pit lane. And green flag back out of the air here. And what a restart for RJ Bishop. He shot out like a rocket. But he's going to be on the outside lane, and look who's already back inside the top 5 for Rishi. A little bit of a nudge there on the 85 in the middle of 3 wide as Apollo Hyde. I think Emi Schizzato is just trying to low down, and looks like we are right back under the caution flag. NB Rain looks to have gone around off of turn number 2 when the yellow flag back out here for the second time this evening. Well, wash, rinse, repeat, and Apollo Hyde already just nearly back inside the top 5, but she's going to gain 3 positions right off of this restart. It'll be up in 6 as everybody will hold up for the pace car, and already some chaos in the opening stages here at Canandaigua. And it's been a fun race so far.
It's definitely been quite the fun race here so far. in the early stages. We've already seen some great racing. Honestly, that is something that I have definitely kind of noticed in the heats as well. These dirt tracks definitely provide kind of ample opportunity for some nice multi-groove racing. Run along the top, and you can get some really good runs off these corners, but bottom is probably where you want to be here through these corners. So it definitely makes for some very interesting pass setups and everything, and definitely made for a very fun racer so far.
Trek Togger got popped in the rear end by Drew Fast, and that's what put us under our caution flag for the second time this evening. We'll get one more look at this from the vantage point of the 60 car. And this was just right off of the restart as everybody was going double and triple file. We had 3 wide as Apollo Hyde was immediately forcing the issue. Just a little bit of a love tap there from the 4, sent the 60 car around for a loop. But other than that, no harm, no foul, and we'll wash, rinse, repeat here as everybody is at the choose cone, and RJ Bishop, who got just a fantastic restart right off of the gun, but wasn't able to really do anything of it coming off of turn 2. He's gonna get another crack at it there in that 48 machine, a throwback to his dad's dirt modified car. There for RJ Bishop. Trying to get his second win of the season, trying to get Warren Wentz Racing their second win of the season, and Corbin Wentz, like we said, only car out of the race here tonight, 20 cars, or rather 19 cars out on track, and 20 of the 20 cars that started this race. But Ike Durbin has looked the strongest of everybody, but don't look behind him. You got Vincenzo Focasato also in the wings as well, and Emi Schizzato has proven to be a pretty nice dirt track commodity. Green flag back out and away. And a much better restart for Durbin that time by, and now the battle for second is on. Way up the racetrack goes the 48. Here comes Focasato trying to take that second spot away. We saw these two were running 1 and 2 2 weeks ago at the Fuel Motorsports Park. Nikki Conti bangs off for the outside wall as she will drop back like a rock in that Gabs Tats car. And now a spinner in turn 1. Blake Warren has gone around once again. And the yellow flag is immediately back out here for the 3rd time. Cautions breed cautions, and, well, I guess they're getting a little too excited here at Canandaigua. It's something in the water that's going to make these cautions a little bit more in heat, if you will. Already under caution number 3 of the night. Blake Warren involved in his second.
Definitely quite the interesting early stages of this race. Excitement kind of amping up here as we get into this feature event. And I guess also the increased car count as well. Definitely making it a little bit difficult to stay off each other, especially just with how much these guys are sliding around. So I have to see if you guys can get to a group of things as we head on into this race. But definitely been quite the interesting, chaotic first handful of laps of this race.
We'll get one more look at this replay as Blake doesn't look like he was clear. He completely chopped the front end off of Rich Roy, who just sent him around for a spin. He goes up on the cushion and fortunately doesn't tap the wall too hard. But that will send him all the way back to the back where he was. And some stop-and-go racing early on here.
Durbin going to hit from the lead.
And this is a bold strategy, but again, with how much these guys have been abusing the tires up at the front, you know, Durbin has been abusing these tires a lot here, especially on that opening run. And again, we're only 19 laps in this race. My only worry, or my only question, my only concern and my only wish is that hopefully we get a nice green flag run of about 20-25 laps to really show how this field can run strung out. I'm just hoping, as fun of a race as the alley was, Emi Schizzato is going to jump up to second based on the choose cone rule. As fun as the alley was, Caleb, last Friday night, the stop-and-go racing, and what do we have, 13 cautions on the evening, 12 or 13, or it was either 11, 12, or 13, somewhere in that ballpark. You know, it was a wild one. When he got up to about 11 cautions, I think was the final number. And we're going to get another wild one here tonight. But hopefully we get a little bit of a nice green flag racing like we had at the Fuel Motorsports Park. Didn't get anything too terrible. But overall, already 3 cautions in the dockets, 20 laps into the race. RJ Bishop is going to get a couple of laps led here, but hopefully I'm looking for some green flag racing here this evening as the green flag back out in the air. Here with 55 laps to go and a great restart once again, this time on the inside for RJ Bishop, and he's looking to check out Apollo Hyde once again, splitting the grid 3 wide. And she's going to take that second spot away from Emmy Schizzato, and just look at the yaw off the back end of that 100 machine, just how much it's pitching out. Schizzato, a little bit of a bump from the 55, and she'll loop it around, back up through traffic. Everybody scurries out of the way, and now Kenny Campos goes around. That's right in front of Ike Durbin. And the yellow flag right back out, right as Apollo Hyde was about to take the race lead away from RJ Bishop. Cautions breed cautions.
You know how the saying goes.
And that was just
a bit too much dust in the water.
That was just an unfortunate bump there from the 55 as we get another look at it. Gunther was underneath the 97 and didn't look like there was any sort of bump there. But fortunately, she was able to hold on to it, and then Kenny Campos gets reverberated off of by the 09 of Sorensen. And that was, again, an unfortunate situation there. As obviously Nick, last week's winner, no ill will in there, as we'll go on board here with the 55 for this next replay before we'll get back underway. We'll see what he saw out of his vantage point in the 97 car. I think just a little bit of a love tap, if anything. Obviously nothing intentional. Again, you're racing on dirt, so things are, it's a contact sport here for dirt racing. So things are definitely bound to happen.
And of course, I guess also just to keep in the back of the mind just how old this game is. Echo definitely can come into play sometime. Definitely looked like there was some space there in between the 55 and 97, but fortunately, Netco could take it, Netco could take it away, and took quite a bit there from the 97 and Schizzato. So yeah, really tough break for both those two. It's 55. Nick Gunther going to be restarting at the back here.
Yeah, and they came down the pit lane. You know what? They already had an end of longest line penalties, so you might as well come down the pit area, get some fresh rubber, and Apollo Hyde and a couple of the drivers, as Nicky Conti just got run into by the 02 of Connor Edwards. These guys eager to get underway. They're just about darn near wrecking under the caution flag.
Faces up at the front, though.
Yeah, how about this for the front? Vincenzo Focusato and Tyler Stallhood will be your two leaders once we go back through the gears here at Canandaigua. Green flag back out in the air, and Stallhood on the outside lane with a controller. It's going to go up the racetrack, and how about Taylor Stolworthy already back in the fray? He's up to third after being forced to come down the pit lane to no doing of his own, and now Ike Durbin trying to run with the 48 car. Way up the track goes the 7 of Stallhood. Into the outside wall goes the 48 of Bishop. Everybody trying to swing their way.
It's turned sideways.
Big stack up in turn number 2, and the yellow flag will come back out again, and it will. Caution number 5 of the evening, NB Rain, Trek Tugger, Connor Edwards, Nicky Conti, I believe, are going to be the quartet of cars that came out of this, and stop and go a la the alleyway. Looks to be the name of the game here tonight with the close quarters racing here at Canandaigua. This is going to be, we're only a third of the way through and we're already up to 5 cautions on the night, Caleb.
Like I was talking about pre-race, just the nature of online racing, and it's definitely very unforgiving, and just the fact that this track as a whole is also very unforgiving definitely makes for some really close quarters, tight racing, and in that case, 2 negatives don't really make a positive, as it definitely makes for some very, very unforgiving racing. And definitely seeing that in the early stages here as now into our 5th caution of the night. Really tough break for everybody involved in these cautions here so far, but Just the nature of a racetrack such as this.
Yeah, we nearly had 4 wide off of the corner off of turn number 4 as this all got started as Connor Edwards just cooked it a little too deep. But watch this 100 car going down. Blake and Emmy are going to door slam for a little bit, and then Connor just no brakes whatsoever, turns around that 45 car, and a couple other cars are going to get caught up in the crossfire as I think the 85 may have turned the 60 there, but looks like Vincenzo Focusato. No, he came down the pit lane. We had a couple more cars come down the pit lane. But the one car back to position number 1 is Taylor Stolworthy, your Fuel Super Speedway Series champion. On the outside of the most recent winner of the Fuel Super Speedway Series of Tyler Stolhood in that 7 car. I know both those drivers are going to be excited to be going across the pond in 2 weeks to the Autodrome de Paris. And of course, the Kansas Speedway is the Kansas Speedway. Everybody's excited to go to out west into Kansas. Stolworthy is your leader. Stolhood right beside him, and Grant Warren, Drew Fast, and Apollo Hyde will round out the top 5. And green flag back out in the air. A great restart on the inside for the one machine. And everybody behind them will fan on out. Bishop on the very outside back in here in the middle of 3 on the outside of 3 wide. Focusato back in there trying to run the inside as those two are the most recent cars with fresh tires. Crystal Bennett with a great save off the corner. She's able to keep that 84 car straight. Now how about Rafaela Sorensen trying to get inside the top 5 with Grant Warren in the 33. Those two going side by side with Apollo Hyde lurking right in the shadows. She thought about making it 3 wide off of the corner. Drew Fast in the outside wall. A couple of cars into the outside wall off turn 4. We remain green for the time being as we're approaching the midway point through this race. And Ike Durbin, the fastest car out on track, down to 11th. See what he's able to do as this run progresses, but Apollo Hyde back inside the top 5. RJ Bishop nearly breaking sideways. He's able to save that in that 48 Mustang. And Taylor Stolworthy and Drew Fast looking for this run to continue to go on here a little bit more. Hyde to the inside of Stolhood. Same thing with Warren. Crystal Bennett thinking about making it 3 wide inside of 3 abreast. Kenny Campos loose off of the corner. He's able to save it. He's down the pit lane. Fortunately for him, he did not hit the inside attenuator. That's going to be a rough break for Kenny. Got his first career podium finish on Wednesday night, or Friday night at the Alley Raceway. And now the top 3 have condensed with one another here on lap number 36, 40 laps to go. 39 to go this next time around. Stolworthy, Fast, and Hyde right on top of one another, and Fast is a-coming on that 100 machine, but Apollo Hyde, I believe, has the freshest rubber of everybody. Actually, no, it's Drew Fast who's made 3 pit stops here tonight. Taking tires on all of them, if I'm not mistaken, and now Apollo Hyde trying to shunt to the outside. RJ Bishop a little bit of loose, as everybody's trying to get around this 7 machine. But now we're starting to see a nice single file. Nice run here as Ike Durbin up inside 7th, and he's trying to move underneath of Crystal Bennett for that 6th spot. He might get inside the top 5 as RJ Bishop goes wide.
Durbin.
How about Ike Durbin with a Dunlop-Prod-esque dive? He's going to go up to 5th. Stolhood twitchy there off of turn number 2, and he is being eaten alive for dinner. How about RJ Bishop riding the cushion on the outside? Couldn't quite get it to stick. Tyler Stolhood doing everything he can. He is absolutely mangling that Xbox controller like he is a 12-year-old playing Call of Duty. He's going to hold on to the spot for now. Ike Durbin up inside the top 5. And all the while, the top 3 as RJ Bishop has gone around. Nobody is hitting him for the time being. He's going to wisely get out of the way and will remain green as we're past the halfway point in the Canandaigua Clash. What a race it has been, and what a battle we've got going on here for the top podium spot. Caleb, what a night.
What a night it has been indeed up here in upstate New York, and we're just getting past halfway home here, as we got a great battle going here for the race lead, as Drew Fast hounding that one machine of Taylor Stallworthy with Apollo Hyde not too far behind, waiting in the wings. Ike Durbin in the 86, the fastest in qualifying, the fastest in their heat race. Now trying to close in to our top three. And I'll tell you what, Durbin is hauling. I believe they probably are the fastest car on the racetrack, at least the last time around. 18.156 compared to 18.3, 18.2, 18.1 from Hyde, and an 18.1 from Durbin, but it's a little bit quicker was that 86, so watch out for the 86 of Ike Durbin if this thing goes green for a while. And definitely nice to get a good green flag.
Oh, and the caution flag is back out, I think. It is.
As soon as I say that.
And we had a nice, what was that, about a 10-lap green flag run?
To be so, yeah, that was exciting.
That was fun for the time being, and the yellow flag has flown for the 6th time this evening. I believe, hey, we got a solid 14-lap green flag run. We'll see what the ultimate cause for the caution was. Here, as we'll get things up and running, I believe it might be NB Rain, or was it the 84 who went up the track? And it was a little bit of a love tap there in this battle for 5th. You can see this Valvoline 84, Tyler Stallhood trying to jam on the brakes, not able to do so in time, and Bennett just loops that car around up on the cushion. And is fortunately able to drive away from the accident scene. But I want to go back to this incredible battle that we had here on lap number 38. You got to go all the way back to as Tyler Stallhood was just trying to fend off everybody as much as he can. He had RJ Bishop going all the way up near to the cushion there. Wasn't able to quite hold on, and he had Ike Durbin trying to make his way through. I think this will be it right here. You got Ike down to the inside, RJ all the way up on the outside right there, hugging the cushion. And fortunately, everybody was able to hold on for the next couple of laps. But what a race it has been. And you go back 2 weeks ago to the race we had at Fuel MP. We might have to have a specific dirt racing division here in the Fuel Racing League, Caleb, because this has been a boatload of fun.
It might have to be something to look into. NR definitely has a lot of very intriguing and fun dirt tracks, and these dirt races definitely proved to be very fun. So, hey, I'd definitely be open to some dirt racing.
I think everybody would. If you don't love dirt racing, then I really don't know what's wrong with you, but what I do know is Ike Durbin absolutely wanted that caution. The green flag back out in the air. Stallworthy with a good jump on the inside, but Hyde already going to be swallowed up on the outside lane, and we'll see what Ike can do here on the restart again. He has been better than Apollo Hyde when these guys have gone head-to-head here at Canandaigua. And a little bit of a shot there. Good save out of both the 4 and the 100. Here comes Durbin. And here comes Emi Schizzato as well, and just trying to survive out there is Apollo Hyde. She's able to grab the gear and fell all the way back to 5th. Here's Nick Gunther to the inside. He started this race all the way back in 13th, and just we say that he nearly wrecks the car. He's able to hold on to it. He'll fall back a little bit as now Hyde on the outside of Schizzato. And all the while, Taylor Stallworthy trying to slip slide away. 25 laps to go in the Canandaigua clash. This next time by, and Ike Durbin, a man on a mission, and the caution flag is back out.
Rafaelo Sorensen around in turn 4.
Lucky number 7th caution of the evening is Nicky Conti and Blake Warren among the cars that have gone around here. And that was nothing short of a fantastic run. As we'll go ahead and see what happened off turn 4. And and cued that replay in a little bit too late there, but just contact between the 09 and the 85 is really what sparked that off. Well, I'll get one more look at it here before we'll see if anybody comes down the pit lane. So RJ Bishop sending it a little bit too hard into the 09, and Nicky Conti nowhere to go. Same thing with Blake Ward. He had the 09 of Sorensen in that Dodge Charger, that Mopar car. Beautiful looking Mopar scheme. That takes me over to what Kyler Anderson's got over in the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. His Mopar car for TT Daytona. Unfortunately, she was doing a little bit too much Nitro Circus for her liking in that 09, and that's going to drop her all the way to 18th. 19 cars still in this race. And we're going to get this race restarted probably with about 21 laps to go. And I think if Caleb, we can get a green flag run here in these final 21 laps, that is going to be epic. And Ike Durbin, second car on the inside lane here on this restart. He has been the one to watch here tonight in that Dark Matter Coffee 86 car.
Absolutely. He has a good starting position here on this restart, right behind our race leader, Taylor Stolworthy. Like I said, we've seen how good that 86 can get, especially on these longer runs. Definitely going to have to keep an eye on that 86, as well as the 100 of Apollo High. She's been cutting her way to the field pretty much this entire night. And restarting on the outside of row number 2. But still, Drew Fast looks pretty nifty here tonight. Taylor Stolworthy especially has also looked pretty quick. So I definitely think we have quite the interesting battle for the race lead here on our hands as we head to the final third of this race.
We absolutely do. Stolworthy and Fast, the front row, with Durbin and Hyde right behind them. Green flag back out and away. Stolworthy gets the jump on the inside. Here comes Durbin. Fast will get the run off of the outside, and what can Apollo do right here on this short run? Ooh, Ike goes off the track as Schizzato lays the chrome horn onto the 86 car. And the caution flag back out. Tyler Stolhood and a couple other cars got sideways right off for the restart. Caution number 8 goes on the board. And Caleb, the longer we go to where we'll get a shorter run in this race, I think that's going to favor this 86 car a little bit more.
It definitely might, although Taylor Stolworthy is launching pretty well here off these restarts. So if they can keep doing that, if we do keep getting cautions, I definitely keep an eye still on that one car. But Ike Durbin, the 86 too. We can keep getting some of these runs going. If the 86 can stay close to the race leaders, I still think they might definitely have a shot at this.
Well, nobody is going to come down the pit lane, as track position means absolutely everything right now. We'll take a look at what happened at the melee right off of the restart. And it looks like this pretty much just involved everybody right from the drop of the green flag. As, well, a little bit of payback, if you will, as Crystal Bennett gets into the 7, as Tyler Stolhood broke a little bit too sideways, and, well, Blake Warren has taken some hard shots, and he's given some hard shots here tonight as he ran right into the 84. We'll get one more look at things here following with Crystal Bennett's perspective. A little too hard of a send. Sent that 7 car back around. NB Rain, who has been all over here tonight, and Nicky Conti has been pushed around a little bit more to her liking. But right back to the top of the charts we'll go. It will be 17 laps to go when we get back underway. And how about this one machine of Taylor Stolworthy? Trying to get Marvelous Racing at least back in victory lane. And if I'm not mistaken, trying to get his first career Fuel Grand National Series win as well. We'll double check that statistic here in a moment. But overall, I believe we're trying to get things going here. Yeah, Taylor Stallworthy does not have a Grand National Series win, but the green flag back out in the air with 17 to go. Durbin down low, Drew Fast, he's also looking for his first career fuel win. Durbin down to the low side. But Taylor Stallworthy has just ran an absolutely impeccable race so far, other than the opening lap kerfuffle that we saw him go down the pit lane, but Ike Durbin up into second, and now he's going to have to defend this crossover from the 4. And how about Emmy Schizzato down to the inside?
Look out.
Got there with the 100, and she's able to save that 97 car off of the corner. And how about Nick Gunther in his second fuel start? Really good recovery after wrecking out early on in heat number 1. And he has been up inside the top 10 for the majority of the night. He's looking for a solid top 5 finish, but now we got Durbin right on the rear bumper of the 1 machine. 14 laps to go from Canandaigua. Durbin sending it in there like he's a postman. Like, not able to get down the low side, and that's going to bring Drew Fast back into this battle. Like trying to thunder that Dark Matter Coffee Mazda around, trying to give Millennium Autosport their second win on a dirt track, trying to go 2 for 2. Jumping on the inside curb there was the 1 car. Durbin not able to take advantage. Now he'll bring that 86 car down to the low side. Stallworthy throws the block once again. 12 to go from Canandaigua here at the Land of Legends Raceway. And Taylor Stallworthy trying to block all covers behind him, but a hard charging Ike Durbin right behind him. He nearly got into the rear bumper there. Durbin now trying to make the outside lane work as there's still nose to tail. Drew Fast pancakes the outside wall like he's at IHOP. That'll bring Apollo Hyde up inside the podium, and the leaders get together in turn 2. Hyde going around on the 100. She's off in the infield. And the caution flag will fly as Drew Fast takes the lead. When was the moment of caution will be the question. But right as we were focusing on Drew Fast going around, this is going to be interesting on who's going to be the leader. Wow.
Goodness.
And it looks like it's going to be Taylor Stallworthy, or is it going to be Apollo Hyde? We'll take a look. I think it is going to be Stallworthy who'll be the leader. We got to take a look at what happened because those two get together. And I'm trying to see the moment of caution. So there's the moment of caution over on our side of things. And it looks like Drew Fast should be the race leader. Caleb, I don't know if you're in real time right now, but I think Drew Fast should be the leader. It should be Fast, Schizzato, Gunther, Hyde, the 1, and then the 86. We'll take a look at what happened just based off everything that just transpired. As Stallworthy got turned, and they were able to keep it straight, credit to them. And then you go back in through here as RJ Bishop and Tyler Stallhood got turned around. We'll see what happened with these guys battling back in here for 17th. Ooh, a big jam up back in here. Kenny went up the racetrack into the 7, and oh, you want to talk about a kick shot right into the wall. That's what Tyler Stallhood got. But Taylor Stallworthy is going to be the race leader after all of that with Ike Durbin on the outside. Caleb, I really don't know about that call from the tower. Based on when the moment of caution was, I think that should be Drew Fast in the race lead. But
it looked like Drew Fast, at least at the moment the caution came out, but I don't know.
We'll see if we'll go green this next time by. The lights are still on the pace car. I think there still might be a discussion of it, and it looks like we're going to get one more pace lap here. This is going to be a very interesting decision. The lights are off. Because you got Stolworthy, who's still the leader, and, you know, that's really just going to completely wash the sins away from this one, from the top three, who all wrecked right before the caution came out, because we saw the moment of caution. Well, the question is, when did the caution come out? When the cars break sideways, I guess, was the when the moment of caution was. That'll be something we'll have to discuss with everybody in our post-race interviews, but right now, it'll be 6 laps to go from Canandaigua. We'll get 1 lap before we reach the point of no return. Stolworthy and Durbin have been battling all night long. It's come down to about 3 more miles here in New York. Green flag in the air. Durbin gets the restart of his life on the outside, but Stolworthy back down to the inside.
Here comes Hyde to 100 as well in that inside lane.
Here comes Hyde down on the low side. And Drew Fast getting shoved off the high perch, and here comes Hyde down to the inside of the 86. Paulo hit the inside wall a little bit. Now Schizzato down low. Nick Gunther is going to loop it around in the double nickel car. Durbin now right behind the 100s. We've got 5 laps to go, coming around to 4 laps to go. We're at the point of no return, and Taylor Stolworthy just trying to hold off Apollo Hyde for the next 4 laps. Schizzato underneath of Durbin as those two battling for that final podium spot. We'll see if the 86 gives the chrome horn back.
Oh, and Durbin to the outside wall.
Durbin's going to fall back. He might fall into the clutches of Drew Fast. 3 laps to go here at Canandaigua, and Taylor Stolworthy is being reeled in like a fish by Apollo Hyde. Can Apollo get there in time? Nicky Conti brings that 85 car down to the inside, sticks high in the air. 2 laps to go. Here comes Apollo. Launches that Pepsi car down to the inside. She might get the run off of the corner. The Marvelous Racing cars duking it out at Canandaigua. Hyde trying to utilize the outside around this one car. Off turn 4, white flag in the air. One more time around Canandaigua. Hyde on the outside. Focusat rather. Stolworthy on the inside. Here's the crossover from Hyde. Down to the inside, it's going to come down to turn number 4, Apollo Hyde. You got Taylor Stolworthy off of turn number 4. Apollo Hyde with a last lap pass gets the job done at Land of Legends.
Welcome back to Victory Lane in probably one of the craziest fashions imaginable. Wow.
What a race. And Apollo Hyde leads 2 laps tonight. But she is your race winner here tonight at Canandaigua. For Taylor Stolworthy, that is just gut-wrenching. Nothing short of gut-wrenching.
Yeah, man.
But Apollo Hyde bringing that 100 car back out to the front straightaway. Goodness gracious. Dirt racing never disappoints, and Apollo Hyde finally ends the winless drought here in upstate New York. But Taylor Stolworthy led 44 laps on the night. But just a great last lap pass there from Apollo Hyde. Got the job done. And how about Emmy Schizzato with the podium finish there in that 97 car? She's going to go up to 3rd. And Ike Durbin and Drew Fast will round out the top 5. With just what a race we had here tonight. Caleb, your thoughts on a fantastic race here at Canandaigua?
Yeah, that was an absolutely fantastic race, pretty much from start to finish. Definitely got quite chaotic there, especially with all the caution flags and everything. But when these guys were able to keep it clean and green, absolutely delivered some fantastic racing. And even when it was still really, really crazy and really, really fun. And just what a race. What a finish there between Apollo Hyde and Taylor Stolworthy. like you were coming back to. It's like Marvelous Racing never left, and that was a fantastic battle between the two former Marvelous Racing cars, and definitely, like I said, that's a really big gut punch there to Taylor Stallworthy after leading all of those laps. But absolute fantastic performance by both the 1 and the 100 car tonight. Paulo Hyde kept her name up there towards the front pretty much all night long, even through some trials and tribulations, and in the end, on a fantastic last lap pass, managed to nab the win. But overall, what a race here from upstate New York. Like you say, dirt races, they really do seem to never disappoint, don't they?
They absolutely do. And taking a look at your top-down results before we'll get into our post-race interviews, as the gap between the top two, only a tenth of a second, 115 thousandths of a second. And the gap could not be any closer. That was the gap right there between the 100 and the 1 by about maybe just under a car length separating the two Marvelous Racing automobiles to get the job done here tonight. But Paulo Hyde, Taylor Stallworthy, and Emi Schizada will be the three drivers we will talk to here in just a couple of moments, with Ike Durbin and Drew Fast rounding out the top five. Vincenzo Focasato was 6th, Grant Warren finished 7th, Rafaela Sorensen finished in 8th, Crystal Bennett was 9th, and Rich Roy with a great top 10 run for that 29 machine. Connor Edwards finished 11th, Kenny Campos was 12th, RJ Bishop was 13th, Tyler Stallhood 14th, Blake Warren rounded out the top 15, Nick Gunther fell down to 16th, Trek Togger was 17th, NB Rain in her debut was 18th, Nikki Conti was 19th, and Corbin Wentz, a not-so-nice 69 laps down, the only car to retire from the race, finished in 20th. But we'll be back here in just a couple of moments, ladies and gentlemen, for post-race interviews after a fantastic race here at the Land of Legends Raceway, where Paulo Hyde able to end the winless drought after about a month and change here in the Fuel Grand National Series at the highest level. So we'll get back here in just a few moments here on the North American Sim Racing Network. A wild, wild ending to tonight's 9th race of the season for the Fuel Grand National Series. As Apollo High, with a last lap pass over Taylor Stolworthy, gets the job done here at the Canandaigua Speedway here on the North American Sim Racing Network's coverage. Fuel Grand National Series. We'll take a look at the last lap of the race live here. Coming off turn 4 for the semifinal time, and Stolworthy already just trying to fight off with their teammate, and just what a battle to the end we had here, Caleb.
That was absolutely a fantastic battle all the way down to the checkered flag blue, and especially just those last couple of laps there between Apollo High, Taylor Stolworthy, both those drivers absolutely duking it out there for the win, and definitely have to feel for Stolworthy there coming out on just the final couple corners, but definitely have to give a huge call to Apollo High for a fantastic drive, and kept her cool there in the closing laps and managed to just barely stick your way by that one of Taylor Stolworthy.
Definitely did, and just what an absolute drive for both of those drivers. But we will address the elephant in the room, as there is a pending race review for an incident that happened on lap number 8. We'll talk about it a little bit more later on. But that was a big part of the reason why we're taking a little bit long to get these interviews queued up. But now that we've got everything out of the way, we will go into our post-race segment.
User was moved to
We'll
your
start
channel.
off with the driver of the number 97 WeatherTech Ford Mustang. Got Emmy Skizada with a nice third-place run here tonight. Emmy, you got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
Yep, loud and clear.
Well, it has certainly been a while since we've seen you in the podium, but glad to see you right back here after a really great race here for you tonight in this 97 machine, finishing in third. You don't go to a whole lot of dirt tracks, but we go back to Fuel MP where you were running. You were mixing it up late in the going. You know, how does running on dirt really translate over from traditionally running on asphalt, and how well have you been able to really hem your craft over these last couple of weeks?
I think dirt is it's a little different than the asphalt. You know, asphalt you can just slide the car around, just throw it in, just because in dirt racing it kind of everything kind of sticks. You just have to keep the slip angle at bay. But yeah, I really enjoy dirt racing. It's one of the few field racing disciplines that I somewhat mastered. I kind of had a little experience on other leagues, and yeah, I think it's a little more. You have a little more freedom. You have a little more space to make mistakes. If you make a mistake and you're gonna instantly spin out, you're just gonna lose momentum. But yeah, it's really cool type of racing to me, honestly.
Well, it was a lot of fun here tonight as Caleb and I had an absolute blast calling this race, but you've really improved. Coming into this season, you have really been one of the top drivers that's really broken out here in season number 8. You're up to third in the point standings, and we got 2 more races to go in the season, but how have you really felt like you've been developing your overall craft here over these last couple of weeks? And we got 2 races left. Do you think you might have a win in the cards here?
I don't know about a win, but I'll just keep it consistent, honestly. The next 2 races are super speedway and a mile and a half. I ran pretty good at Las Vegas. If my memory doesn't fail me, I was running third in like final 5 laps, and I kind of just felt the pressure and just bottled to 6. But I felt really good. And Kansas is a type of track that's similar to Las Vegas, so we kind of have a little base there. But I feel way more comfortable in the car right now. Short tracks on speedway, especially my great nemesis are the 1.5 mile speedways, and I feel like I'm a lot more comfortable running there with the setups I have, with the experience I've gathered, and yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to be running well this season, and yeah, that's. I'm just really happy to be improving and to be running well. That's my goal, to be consistent, and yeah, That's my goal, just to be consistent on these type of tracks and learn more, improve more, and I'll hopefully get one day, get a win one day.
Well, you've definitely really been improving. Like we said, you were one of the biggest breakout stars all season long, and you've coming home to a third place finish here tonight. Caleb, you got anything for our third place finisher here this evening at Canandaigua?
I have to say that was quite the wild race out there tonight from upstate New York. I definitely have to give you a lot of credit for keeping your nose in the lead fight pretty much just about all night long, and you've been overcoming a couple of trials and tribulations there towards the beginning, midway through the race, but a fantastic job out there tonight. A very well deserved podium from you out there, and great job.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Was a fun one for us to watch, and you were absolutely bombing it into the inside, and a well-deserved third place finish for you, like Caleb said. Well, let me, before we let you go, we'll let you have the floor to thank any sponsors you want. If there's anybody else you want to shout out here on the NASRN airwaves, as long as you want, the floor is yours.
I'd like to thank Ford Racing, Ford Performance Racing, and putting up this Ford Mustang pretty nicely over the winter. Would also like to thank my girlfriend, as always, Rafaela, and would also like to thank WeatherTech and Red Bull. Red Bull's been my main, the guys that are just backing the funding of this project. I couldn't do it without them. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Well, a great run for you tonight, as always. And hey, you know, the best thing you can see in this series is drastic improvement over the course of a season. And like we said, your first career win is definitely coming up soon. And we hope to see it sometime here in 2026. But Emmy, congratulations on a great podium run here tonight. And we'll see you next week we'll see you next week in the Midwest over in Kansas.
Yeah, sure thing.
User was moved out.
That was
of
Emmy
your channel.
Schizotto, driver of the number 97 WeatherTech Ford Mustang for Rafaela Emmy Motorsports. And it'll bring us up into our next interview.
User was moved to your
The dominant
channel.
driver of the night in that marvelous racing, number 1 Havoline Texaco Dodge Charger. Taylor Stolworthy, you got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
Yes, I do.
Well, coming into tonight's race, or rather coming out of the last dirt race that we had 2 weeks ago at Fuel Motorsports Park, and coming into tonight where you ran a lot better than you ran at Fuel last week or 2 weeks ago. You know, the dirt racing and the translates not really a whole lot from the asphalt racing. Coming into tonight, how do you think you really improved a lot going throughout the motions of this race?
I think it was just positioning and getting lucky. I timed my pit stop to fuel up for the end of the race, coming in behind Ike, and that was the call. It was earlier than everyone else, gained a ton of positions under yellow, and all of a sudden found myself pretty much right at the front of the field for one of the restarts. And once we had a green flag and I was able to get in front, I knew that low line was going to be tough, and if I could defend it, I could. So for about 30 or so laps there, I was able to just stick it down low. But I think by all senses of the word, I was maybe the 5th fastest driver on the track, and I had multiple incidents where I was knocked down to like the rear of the field. So definitely a weird comeback for sure. Crazy that I ended up leading so many laps, but got to be happy with that result.
You definitely do, but we got to break things down between you and your teammate, absolutely duking it out, dogfighting in the final 2 laps, and just walk us through the last lap where Apollo had the outside on you and then crossed you over going out of turn number 2. Just walk us through the last little part of that lap, and is there anything that you wish you had done differently?
Yeah, not lose. That's probably the first thing I'd say. But second thing is just I raced that, I think, as well as I could. I could have tried to slow up into turn 1 on that final lap after Apollo was on my outside. But honestly, as well, Apollo and Ike were the 2 fastest drivers, and I had a good job defending Ike throughout the race, but Apollo's an entirely different beast out there going to overtakes, and it took an unbelievable switchback that not Ike, not Drew, not anyone else that had been challenging me for P1 during any of the previous stints had been able to try to pull off or even successfully attempt to pull off in the past. It was a split-second decision and just an incredible pass, more so than even me getting loose, because I did. It took, even with me getting loose, it took a brilliant maneuver. So it sucks to lose in the last lap. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not a little disappointed about it, but I just got to throw in my arms and say, yeah, that was good.
Well, hey, you know what? At least it was just an absolute dogfight between you and your teammate, and hey, at least Marvelous Racing was going to go to victory lane on a 1-2 finish one way or the other. But looking up to these next two races we've got on the card, we got Kansas next Wednesday night, the penultimate race of the season, and we're right back over to the site of your first of your championship back in the Fuel Super Speedway Series over at Autodrome de Paris. We got a fortnight of racing left. What are you looking for as just a driver over these next 2 weeks?
Yeah, just finished strong. I'm pretty sure this win almost would secure Apollo the title. Either way, Apollo should probably be cleanly running away with this at this stage. So obviously not really in a title fight, but more so just getting some good finishes, ending the season on a high note, and trying to be a little cleaner out there. This was definitely the cars definitely did not help. Any contact just sent everyone spinning. Had an incident in the first heat. Sorry about that, Nick, and had an incident with Apollo in the middle of the race. Although we might not have touched. It was funny when we both went down pit road on a spin together, but still finished 1-2. So keep it clean and try to replicate this podium streak, which I'm surprised is still been going on. I mean, third, second is a very good set of finishing results in a row.
It definitely is. You have been on a hot streak over these last couple of weeks and able to get the job done here tonight. Finishing one position short of where you wanted to be. But Caleb, you got anything for a runner-up finisher here this evening at Canandaigua?
Definitely have to say that was quite the run and quite the effort out of you out there tonight. You drove a fantastic race, and overall it was a very, very, very fun race out there from upstate New York, and definitely have to give you a lot of credit. And it does definitely hurt to lose like that, but I know your time is coming, and that race showed anything. It's definitely coming here sooner than later. So fantastic job out there, and I definitely wish the best of luck for you and hope that first one's coming soon.
I've got a big trophy in the cabinet from the winter, so in terms of chasing a win, that's a little bit lower on the to-do list for the short time being. But would have been cool to win tonight. But I reckon that Paris will be a fun repeat. Try to get some revenge for some of the shenanigans at the end of last season, because I felt like I was one of the faster cars there. So who knows?
You go.
We'll have to wait 2 weeks to see what you can do across the pond. But Taylor, before we'll let you spring loose, we'll give you the floor to shout out anybody you want to hear on the NASRN. If there's any sponsors you want to thank, as long as you want, the floor is yours, my man, for a runner-up finisher.
Yeah, shout out to the Haviline team sponsoring the ride. Shout out to Marvelous Racing, a 1-2 and brilliant finish as well. I also want to shout out the great Yutaka Take. I was able to embody his performance, losing the lead at the line after a successful front runaway strategy, just like at the Osaka High. And thanks again for you guys for the broadcast. Always a joy to be a part of these interviews.
Well, hey, you guys are the ones that put on the show out there, and you guys put on one hell of a show here tonight. And we would just be idiots talking to ourselves if it wasn't for you guys just absolutely putting on a great performance for us to call out there. But Taylor, thank you so much for coming on here tonight, and we'll see you next week across the plains in Kansas for the penultimate race of the season.
See you then.
That was Taylor Stolworthy, driver of the number 1 Marvelous Racing Texaco Haviline Dodge. On the other end, the short end of the stick of that Marvelous Racing 1-2 finish. And finally, for the first time in about a month and a half, stepping onto the top podium, driver of the number 100 Pepsi Subaru from Marvelous Racing. Apollo Hyde, you got a copy of us?
I have a copy.
Well, it finally took a month and a half and ton of arduous racing and quite a few different comebacks. But for the first time since the incredible race at the 1997 version of Atlanta, you are on the top step of the podium. First and foremost, congratulations to finally getting your 3rd win of the season.
Yeah, it took long enough. I was hoping to get one of these 2 dirt races in. Very glad that we finally had it. I feel like that our car was definitely the weakest out of the entire GNS season, honestly. I felt like that this was the weakest car that we've brought to the track. I thought that maybe on pace I was about the 3rd fastest car out there, but the stars aligned on that last run, and Taylor ended up making a mistake at the wrong time, and I was able to take advantage.
And you guys absolutely running right on the rugged neck with each other. And you guys couldn't get away from each other all night long. Starting on the second lap of the race, you guys made contact. Both went down the service area. Were able to recover for a nice 1-2 finish. But ever since really bringing Taylor on with Marvelous Racing, how do you think he's really developed as a driver, right? Being kept under your wing here over these last about 4 or 5 months or so?
Yeah, Taylor's been an excellent addition. I'm so glad that he's been able to race with us and specifically with this team. We do some deeply unserious racing on the weekdays sometimes, but we really buckle it down and get the job done here on race day. He is a bit of a wild card. He's either in the top 3 or he's in the garage. We got to work on a little bit of consistency, but the speed is definitely there, and I think that going forward, if we can nail down the consistency issues, I apologize for being unable to speak. If we can nail down those consistency issues, we've got a really strong team here.
Well, you guys definitely do, and of course, you being the flagship car, getting your 3rd win of the season, and overall, you got 2 races remaining, and a pretty decent finish next week would essentially lock things up for the championship for you over Vincenzo. But overall, looking ahead to these next 2 weeks, you've got Kansas coming up next week, and then you go across the pond to Paris. What are you looking for out of both yourself and as well as your teammate?
I mean, my expectations are pretty modest over the next 2 races. I knew I really needed to buckle down and make sure that we got this race taken care of. As far as we know, we did. Obviously, we got to pass Tech. Hopefully that ends up happening. But yeah, we needed to buckle down and get this race taken care of. We did an excellent job. These next 2 races, I don't think either of them particularly favor me, but we will see. Super speedways have always been my Achilles heel. I managed to somehow win one to start the season. We'll see how Paris goes to end the season, and obviously with Kansas, it's Kansas. I don't really. It's Kansas.
Well, it's certainly going to be fun. It's such a shame that Kansas is going to be the one race this season that we'll miss live. We'll, of course, get the tape delay for everybody on our ends. But one final question before we'll turn it over to Caleb. You know, we talked a little bit of it at the on Friday night with the Sportsman Series, but the amount of progression and the amount of development we've seen out of pretty much the entire field this season has really been incredible. From Emmy Schizzato, what she's been able to do, she's up to 3rd in the point standings to what Taylor Stallworthy has really been able to accomplish as well. We've had some other drivers really come into their own, such as Grant Warren and Blake Warren. They've been really putting together some pretty good finishes. And Ike Durbin, he's also been improving as well. So I know even though this is mostly Tyler's main series that he's been running, what can you really say about the talent progression and the paths that all of these drivers have been doing here with Fuel to really hone in their craft?
Again, it's really a matter of consistency with most of the other drivers on a week-to-week basis. I mean, you've got people that have killer speed. I mean, last week, Vincenzo probably, if that race went green the rest of the way, I'm convinced Vincenzo would have ended up winning that race at Rockingham. His car was on rails in the final 10 laps of that race. Like, he was a good 0.3 per second faster than me on that last run. So I'm convinced that race goes on, Vincenzo would have won Rockingham. Obviously, Emmy Schizzato, Grant Warren have both had excellent races. Taylor Stallworthy has had excellent races. It's about putting full races together and just really starting to nail down that consistency. They're pretty much at the same place that I was during the first couple of seasons of Fuel, where I would show, I'd pull up and I'd just put down some ridiculous lap time in qualifying, and then I just figure out some way to bottle it. Every single race, I'd find some crazy way to bottle the race. I guess that's how I learned how to fight through the field with a faster car. But once the field starts nailing down the consistency, I feel like that the points championship is going to get a lot more competitive, because right now It's mainly comers and goers. You have I'm not guaranteed to win these races. Nobody is guaranteed to win these races. Honestly, anybody can win. There's always a good 5 or 6 people that can show up. The thing is that, let's just say me, Dunn, and Nick are all in the same race. You have those 3, and then you can pick 3 from like a list of an additional 7, and 3 of them will show up and 4 of them won't. If we could get all 7 of them to consistently show up with speed, man, we're going to have a crazy championship points battle.
We already see it here, at least in these races with the amount of talent we've got. You just go back to Rockingham last week where it was crazy competitive with Nick Gunther coming onto the scene. Don LaPrade was able to jump up there, and RJ Bishop, he's also been up there as well. But with how everybody has been improving their craft here in NR2003 online, and just a great way and a great sandbox for everybody to really hone in here, and that's just a great product that we've got here in the Fuel Racing League. And hats off to you and Tyler and Ike for really putting on a fantastic league, and still got plenty of more races to go here in 2026. But overall, hats off to you guys for just building a great league and a great culture around driver development. Caleb, you got anything for our winner here tonight at Canandaigua?
Definitely have to say that was quite the race out there tonight here from upstate New York, and I definitely have to give you a lot of credit overcoming a couple of trials and tribulations in that race. Ended up coming home with a winner there on a great last lap pass. The battle that you and Taylor Stolworthy there had in the closing laps was absolutely incredible. So, hey, great job out there tonight, and I'm sure this is definitely going to put you in a pretty good spot for the championship. So, definitely wish you nothing but the best of luck here for these last 2 races as you look to close that one out as well.
Absolutely. That's what the plan's going to be.
Well, Apollo, you definitely know the drill by now, so we'll give you the floor to thank any sponsors you want. If there's anybody to shout out for the first time since Atlanta, all the way back of race number 2 of the season, nearly 2 months ago. Paul, the floor is yours.
Yes, definitely. I had that taken down, but let's talk about what's going to be on, because this weekend, at least in the idol community, is utterly stacked. We've got the Philadelphia Otaku Fest in downtown Philadelphia. There's going to be a concert with a bunch of my friends performing in that 4 o'clock. It's going to be before the sportsman race, so if you're somehow able to get off of work in Philadelphia, go take a look at the Philadelphia Otaku Fest. In Washington, D.C., there's the Sakura Matsuri event, which is kind of another public festival of Japanese culture. There's going to be an idol stage there as well. That begins at noon. And then on Sunday, there is another live event for a group that I believe it's called iRes. And let me see here. Where is that specifically? I don't know where that is, but if you look up the iRes, IRES Mini Live Echo, you should be able to find it. And they are going to be, I think they're from the DMV region, so it should be Baltimore, DC, somewhere in there. If you can go out to any of these 3 events, I highly recommend it. It's always an excellent time to pull up to one of these idol events. The energy is unbelievable.
We'll definitely have to check out those events if you guys are interested. But Apollo, thank you all. Thank you for coming on here post race once again, and good luck at Kansas. And we'll probably see you live here in 2 weeks' time across the pond in Paris.
Sounds good.
User
That was
was moved
Apollo
out of
Hyde,
your
driver
channel.
of the number 100 Pepsi Subaru for Marvelous Racing. The long end of the stick of this Marvelous Racing, a marvelous 1-2 finish here at Canandaigua Speedway. Your winner, tentatively as for right now, pending track or pending the race review, and we'll go ahead and quickly take a look at that real quick. But before we get that underway, Caleb, Caleb, your initial thoughts on the end of this race here.
Like I said, that was definitely a very, very fun race, and especially energetic run to the finish here in this race. Saw a lot of great battles, especially there towards the end, and a great battle for the lead, especially, like I said there, between Apollo Hyde and Taylor Stillworthy. Two marvelous racing teammates duking it out there for this race victory. And definitely, like I said, nice to see Apollo go back to victory lane. Still kind of gutted for Stillworthy, but like they mentioned, victory not quite on their mind, but I definitely hope they do get some redemption later on the season at Paris. But overall, like I said, a very fun race here tonight. Like I said, dirt racing's always usually such a blast, and tonight was absolutely no different from that. And still got 2 more races left to go in the season. Going to be very exciting to see how those do end up playing out. Pretty sure, like you said, we got Kansas up next, and then we got Paris to close out the season. 2 very, very fun tracks, as proven in years past. So definitely going to be exciting to see how this chapter of the Fuel Grade National Series will close out.
Right, and as we were talking about, we'll take a look at the opposed incident right now. This was back on lap number 8. You're going to watch as Nick Gunther is in the middle 3 wide, goes up a little bit of the track, and they watch this 100 just yaw out a little bit, going through the corner, making some contact there with the 55. There was a point of contention post-race whether this race should have been, or rather that incident should have been claimed, and there will be pending a post-race review. There could be a chance that if that wreck is deemed to be an unclaimed by the 100, that Taylor Stillworthy would be the race winner. So tentatively, like Apollo was joking through tech inspection, the race isn't official just yet. But based on it, Caleb, we were talking about it a little bit right before we went back on air. It looked like that was just simply just a racing deal, and there's nothing you can do about netcode. We were talking about how the NR2003 netcode walked so the iRacing netcode could run. But before we'll go through the top down through the order here, I just want to get your thoughts before we'll officially get out of Dodge here at 11 o'clock Eastern.
Overall, like I said, that was a very, very fun race, and diving into that incident. A lot of incidents we kind of saw tonight. Definitely think that, like I said, already online racing can be a bit unforgiving with the contact and everything, and throw these cars on an unforgiving track surface, and 2 negatives definitely make it positive. So a handful of incidents tonight, and a couple of them, including that one that we were talking about, I think definitely were assisted by a bit of netcode and just the unforgiving nature of this racetrack. So definitely kind of rough to see, but like I said, still had a very, very fun race tonight. Have to see how that all ends up shaking out, but definitely, like I said, still a great drive by all the guys that finished, especially up there in the podium places. Amy Schizzotto, Taylor Stillworthy, Apollo Hyde all drove some fantastic races here tonight. But overall, a very, very fun race here from upstate New York. And it's going to be interesting to see how storylines from a race like this transpires into the next, or the final couple of races of the season at Kansas and Paris. But definitely a very, very fun night.
Was absolutely fun, and it's hard to believe that with 9 races that are in the books, and we've got 2 races to go. But overall, before we'll get things underway here, we'll do a final top down through the order of tonight's race. Apollo Hyde leads only 2 laps on the evening, is able to get the job done with a 1.1 or a 0.115 second deficit over Taylor Stillworthy, who led 44 laps tonight, and Emmy Schizzotto rounded out the podium in the 97. Ike Durbin finished in 4th, Drew Fast rounded out the top 5 in 5th. Vincenzo Focusato finished in 6th. Grant Warren was 7th. Javiela Sorensen was 8th. Crystal Bennett went on to finish 9th, and Rich Roy finished in 10th. 11th was Connor Edwards. 12th was Kenny Campos. 13th was RJ Bishop. 14th, Tyler Stallhood, and wanted to give his buddies one more shout out before we get underway. Jarrett, Caleb, Danny, and Cole from Vanguard Digital Printing Systems wanted to officially shout them out one more time. We shouted them out earlier on the broadcast. So all those guys on a great business trip. And Tyler Stallhood on the controller was able to finish 14th out of 20 cars. Blake Warren was 15th. 16th was Nick Gunther. 17th was Truck Togger. 18th in her debut was NB Rain. 19th was Nikki Conti, 1 lap down. And 20th, the only car out of the race, Corbin Wentz, 69 laps off of the pace. Here for tonight's 75-lapper at the Land of Legends Speedway. But that's going to do it here from the Land of Legends Raceway. Congratulations once again to Apollo Hyde for, as of right now, winning the Canandaigua Clash. We'll get any updates on the official results later on when the things become official. But we're going to be off next week. But the Kansas Speedway race will still be aired on Wednesday. It will likely be over on Nikki Conti's YouTube channel for Gone Sovereign. Definitely go check out some of her content. But we will have the tape-delayed broadcast on Monday, April 20th, an absolute smoke show on 420 from the Kansas Speedway. That'll be taking place at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, right here in your home for the Fuel Grand National Series and the Fuel Racing League, the NESRN. Thank you all so much for tuning into tonight's broadcast of the Fuel Grand National Series. And from Canandaigua, New York, on behalf of Caleb Rose, Paulo Hyde, Tyler Stallhood, Ike Durbin, the Fuel Racing League, and the entire North American Sim Racing Network, my name is Trey Wright. Have a great evening, folks. We'll see you Monday night, next Monday evening, for the tape-delayed broadcast of race number 10 of the season from the Kansas Speedway. And after that, it'll be the final race of the season across the pond in Paris for race number 11 of the opening third of the calendar year here for the Fuel Racing League right here on the NESRN. That's all we've got. Have a great evening, folks. See you Monday night for the penultimate race of the season from Kansas.